Okay, in previous class, fine, mute your microphones. In the previous class, we have discussed regarding distribution management. Uh, in case of distribution management, in case of business economics, distribution directly relate to the allocation of good to the recipient. So who are the recipient? The customer recipient. The next part is, if you go to the distribution management, you must understand the distribution system. So as far as concerned with the distribution, which encompasses a particular system of all activities that are related to the transfer of economics in the form of good between manufacturer and the customers. So I repeat this one, it is the business economic, which is directly related to the allocations through the different activities from the manufacturer to the customers. The next, we have already discussed the different type of distributions management system. As you know, the first one is your acquisition distribution system, or next one is your physical distribution system. So in case of acquisition distribution system, it is directly include the management of distributions route that is known as Rio distribution channels. But in case of physical distributions, I will go to the basic output, but we have just gone through the previous class review. So as far as concerned with the distribution management, that is divided into acquisition distribution system and next is physical distribution system. So I repeat, in case of acquisition distribution system, it includes management of distribution of routes, that is known as distribution channels. But in case of physical distribution system, that is known as logistics. So as far as concerned with the logistic part, it basically focusing on bridging, or it make a particular bridge between space and time of transportations. The next one is your storage. Next one is order processing, shipment, and supply logistics. The next part is, we have already discussed the different type of marketing channel. As far as concerned with the distribution management, it is very much similar to the word that is known as marketing channel. In case of marketing channel, it is divided into three types. That is communication channels, then distribution channel, and service channel. Apart from those things, if you convert, in case of type of distribution channel, as you know, this is divided into two types. It is known as direct distribution channel and indirect distribution channel. So if you go to the definition of distribution channel, in case of direct distribution, it is producers sell their product directly to the customer. That is known as direct distribution channel. But apart from indirect, or if you go to the definition of indirect distribution channel, it is directly deal with long-term and short-term basis. But the thing is that they have introduced some intermediate. Well, who are the intermediate? The wholesaler, the retailers, the stockers, the outlet, the distributor. These are the different intermediate. So through that different intermediate, the good and service should be reached up to the customer level through the manufacturer. The next part is, we have already discussed the different principle or basic component of distribution process. As you know, the distribution process is divided into four types. The first one is order processing, then stock level or inventory level, then warehouse and transportation. In case of warehouse and transportation, we have already discussed the case studies of Isar Steel. In case of warehouse, we have already discussed the Indo-Arya Group case studies. Then apart from those things, we have already discussed the objective of distribution system. But include objective of distribution system, which include improve customer satisfaction or improve customer service, reduce distribution cost, different costs which directly associate or indirectly associated with distribution channel, and generating additional sale through distribution network, then creating time and space for price stabilize. So these are the most objective as far as with distribution. In the previous class, we have already gone through distribution. I just repeat those things: distribution management, then types of marketing channel, types of channels, principal component of your distribution process, then objective of distribution management. So today we will discuss the topic that is known as basic output of physical distributions. If you go to the first definitions, so go to the point number 1. The output of any system or distribution is the level of customer service. So as you know, as far as concerned with the customer point of view, customer is always king for any kind of product and services. The same thing happen in case of your distribution system. You directly concern with physical distribution in the form of logistics. So this is the key competitive benefit that companies can offer existing and potential customers to remain attractive. So that is why the logistic operation should be implemented, or logistic activity should be implemented to attract and retain the business. Moving to the second, if you go to from a policy point of view, the desired level of service should be least equivalent to the major competitors. So that is why through the physical distribution, you have to beat the competitor to success, survive, and sustain in the market. So that is why you have to keep in your mind about your competitors. That is the concept of physical distribution. If you go to the level of service often view at the time it takes to deliver an order to a customer on the percentage of order that can be made from the stock. So that is why, as far as concerned with the basic component or principal component, the most important thing is your stock level. So whenever a uncertain demand is arise from customer point of view, you have to maintain a balance between supply and demand. The next part is that is where the other service element include technical assistance, training, and you can say that it's after sales service. So as I told in the case studies of air conditioning like Blue Star, they provide 3-year maintenance free after sales service. So in that they can retain their potential customer as well as retain their business. That is the concept. If you go to the important service element to the majority of firm, our first one is delivery, that is reliability, and the next one is frequency. The next level is stock availability, that is ability to meet the order quickly. So that is the 2 point which is directly relevant or directly associated with service element to the majority of the firm. Moving to the next slide, just go to the next slide. Okay. Then the next topic is your distribution strategy. So as far as concerned with the term strategy, it is depend upon the marketing scenario, customers, then economic conditions, geographical locations. Depending on these factors, even for your environmental factor. So whenever you choose for distribution channels or distribution strategy in the form of physical distributions, you have to implement some distribution strategy. If you go to the point number 1, the distribution strategy directly influence the market structure, as I told. In case of farm objective, it's resources and of course it all overall marketing strategy. So in case of distribution strategy, directly associated with the marketing strategy. All these factors are addressed in this particular section, which is relating the distribution channels. So these factors, starting from your farm objective, market structures, environmental impact, geographical location, potential customers, price stabilities. If you take this particular thing and it's directly associated with your distribution channel. The next, if you go to the strategy decision, whether a distribution is to be intensive with mass distribution into outlet in case of conventional. The next is selective with, you can say that is in case of selective, carefully choosing the distributor. For example, especially goods such as car repair kits. Or in case of exclusive distribution strategy, the distribution restricted to off-market outlet in case of Gucci closet. So these are the few case studies which we have already, these are the given case studies where you can go for intensive strategy in case of mass distribution, selective strategy for special type of product in case of car repair kit, and in case of exclusive distribution strategy for like garment industry like Gucci. The next part is if you go to the next strategy decision, which clarify the number of level with the channels. So what are the level? If you add more amount of intermediate like wholesaler, like distributor, like carrier and forward agency, then stockist and super stockist. These things are these level within the channel, such as agent, we have already discussed, agent, distributor, wholesaler, retail. If you go to the market, Japanese scenario in case of marketing, there are many intermediates involved. So there are two common intermediates or strategies should be adopted in these distribution strategy. The first one is vertical marketing system, or next one is horizontal marketing system. I will provide a particular case study on vertical marketing as well as horizontal marketing system. Moving to the next one. Next slide. Okay, here the typical previous slide. Okay, fine. So in case of conventional versus your vertical or horizontal marketing, if you go to the traditional marketing channel, there is a manufacturer is there, And in between manufacturer and consumer, there is two intermediaries are there. The first one is wholesaler and retailer. But if you go to the horizontal marketing systems, there are two manufacturers are there, and they directly combine one wholesaler, one retailer, and finally the product will be reached to the customers. So this is known as horizontal marketing, where more number of manufacturers is available. The next is in case of vertical marketing system, they directly combine manufacturer, wholesaler, retailers, and they directly provide their product and services to the customers. In the first one, if you directly go to the market, the manufacturer directly go to the wholesaler, then the wholesaler goes to the retailer, retailer goes to the consumer level. But in case of integrated organizations like steel organizations, like aluminum, like process industry, like chemical processing industry, like sugar, they have multiple manufacturers and they combine one wholesaler, one retailer, and finally the product will be reached up to the consumer. But if you take the vertical marketing system adopted by ITC, they combine the manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, and they provide a few amount of incentive and discount that directly goes to the customer. Even if you take the example of Hindustan Unilever, even you take the example of Astral 5, there is no particular intermediator as is available in case of Astral pipe. Only wholesaler, sorry, only manufacturer. They directly combine the wholesaler, even if retailer, and they provide a few or less amount of incentive to the customers, which is directly belong to agri industry in case of Astral pipe. Moving to the next slide. Yes. So here we are discussing, if you have any doubt regarding verticals and horizontal, in case of horizontal, vertical, and conventional marketing, you can ask the questions from the previous slide if anybody is unable to understand the concept. Because this is very much essential as far as concerned with marketing. Go to the slide one, previous slide. Yes. So in case of traditional or conventional marketing channel, for example, in case of there is a agri product is available, and that agri product manufacturer is there, they directly sell to the send to the wholesaler. Through the wholesaler, it should be reach up to the retail level, and from retail level, the customer is available the particular product. This is known as traditional. It is applicable to our day-to-day life. Whenever you directly purchase the particular product like soap, like sanitaries, like cosmetics from a retail outlet. But in case of horizontal marketing systems, for example, in case of there are two number of manufacturers there, particularly if you take the example of steel industries, and steel industries consume their particular product from a automotive industries. So who are the customers? The automotive industries are customers. For example, in case of automotive body assemble work, they directly purchase the particular product through the retail level, through the wholesale level, along with two type of manufacturers. One is manufacturer one and another is manufacturer two. But in case of vertical, as I told you, the case studies of ITC, the Astral, the case studies of Hindustan, they are directly combined the manufacturer as wholesaler, retailer. So here the retailer and wholesaler pay as a come stockist. It is known as. Okay. Is it clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
In case of vertical marketing, what will happen? In case of in that, if you take example of a manufacturer point of view, they made a particular wholesaler in the form of super stockist, and that super stockist plays company itself, like Astral. Those who are taking the franchise of Astral in the form of Canadian Forward Agency, they combine the manufacturer, wholesaler as well as retailers. So that is why never pay kind of as far as concerned with the plumbing industry. Same thing happened in case of Hindustan Unilever, same happened in case of ITC also. So if you go to the conventional way, there is only one manufacturer is there under them. There is wholesaler and retailer, and finally the product will be reached to the customer. And in case of horizontal, there are two or more manufacturers available. They combine one wholesaler, one retailer, and finally the product would be reached up to the consumer level. Similarly, in case of vertical marketing system, the vertical marketing system combines manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer. So this coordination, they provide more amount of sales after service, you can say that is after sales service which concerns more amount of incentive, more amount of discount directly goes to the customer point of view. So these are the things. If you have any doubt, any questions? Any question from your point of view? Yes. Okay, moving to the next one. So in case of vertical marketing system, the vertical marketing system involves supplier, as I told, intermediary, working closely together instead of against each other. They never play or they never go against each other because they are directly under the manufacturer. They plan production and deliver schedule, quality level, promotion, sometimes price also. Resources like information, equipment, and expertise are shared. So if you go to the vertical marketing systems, if there is two or more manufacturing companies are there, they never against each other. The next part is they together they code combinedly plan production, deliver schedules, quality level. Even they also combinedly go for promotions. They also share their resources like information, equipments, and expertise are shared. So if you go to the vertical system, are usually managed by a dominant member like channel captains. So in case of vertical marketing system, it's more flexible than the vertical integrations. So if you go to the conventional way, in case of vertical integration, there may be a manufacturer is there, their wholesaler is there, retailer is there, and finally a product should be there. But they never integrated each other's. So where the manufacturer actually own the distribution channels. For example, Dr. Martin Boot manufacturer own their own retail shop. For example, in case of Bata has their own retail shop. Similarly, these are the basic example of vertical marketing systems. Going to the next one. Next slide. So here the typical example of vertical marketing system, how the what type of distribution strategies is adopted by your Patanjali group. So if you go to the Patanjali brand, in that case, they must contain a particular symbol of Om. So if you go to the Hindu religious or Indian tradition form, the core Patanjali logo itself contain a Om logo. The next part is a picture of yogi in the next to the Om that represent Baba Ramdev, the face of brand. So Baba Ramdev is the brand value or brand face of that particular group. It also or it makes easier for the Patanjali to win the trust of people through the Ramdev fan followings. So that is why those who are following Ramdev Baba through social media, through their concept, through their yoga concept, they must go for this particular brand. The next is if you go to the sapling or sampling that indicate herbal and natural product of Patanjali. The next part is the stroke of green, white, and saffron color. The depreciate Indian flag stand for Swadeshi or being Indian product. So due to that logo, which are the followers of Baba Ramdev, the company made its own retail outlet as far as concerned with the vertical marketing system, and they provide less amount of incentive to the customers, less amount of discount in the form of less amount of discount. But the thing is that their price is very much less as far as concerned with the competitors' price. So due to that strategy, just imagine in the past 4 to 5 years, it will be you can say that is most uh, dominating and most emerging brand across FMCG product, across cosmetic product, across a household product. The next part is if you go to the next one, go into the next slide. The previous one. The next one is horizontal marketing system. As far as concerned with the horizontal marketing system occur where organization operating the same channel levels, that example two supplier, two retailer or corporate. Then they share distribution expertise and distribution channels. So this can be speed of the time taken to penetrate the market. There is no room or there is a particular room for creative alliance here. The creative alliance between manufacturer, then the wholesaler and the retailer levels. and that alliance provide the particular product to the potential customer. That is the concept of horizontal marketing. In the horizontal marketing, it is the combination or coordination between two suppliers, two wholesaler, maybe two supplier, maybe two wholesaler, maybe two retailer, and they cooperate each others. And for their cooperation, they are expertise in case of distribution, and they are expertisely planning schedules and coordinating all information related to distribution network channels. So due to that thing, if you go take the example of, go to the next slide. In the next slide, you said you take the example of Amazon India Limited. So there may be a number of publisher and supplier, or you can say that is manufacturer are assigned with the Amazon company for providing good quality of product. So due to that good quality product, they made, there are some wholesaler are also there. So whenever Amazon combine the publisher, supplier and wholesaler in a particular form of distribution center, your information, product and other informations are directly get fed into the Amazon distribution centers, where a centrally operated ERP system is tracking the order, deliver the particular product to the number of destination. They also track the different suggestion and feedback of customers. And through the distribution hub, they directly communicate with the customers. Whenever customer place a particular product on the platform of Amazon, that information directly goes to the wholesale level, even if directly go to the supply level also. The combinedly they perform their coordination, planning, other type of activities as far as concerned with the distribution channel, that directly the product is directly go to the customer's level. Moving to the next one. Here another typical case study of Hindustan Unilever, where they are assigned a C&F agency, that is carry and for freight agency, which is play as a super stockist of Hindustan Unilever companies, and that directly goes to the stockist level, and then stockist level to wholesaler level in case of rural area, in case of urban area, and finally it should be reached to the customer levels. In that thing, they directly combine the carry and forward agency, which is play as a company itself. Then the next part is they also combine the stockists and wholesalers, and through that combination of wholesaler, retailers and manufacturer, they directly focus on rural area as well as urban area customers. So that is the distribution strategy of your Hindustan Unilever. Moving to the next one. Okay, if you have any doubt up to this slide, you can ask the questions. Anyone? Anyone? Any doubt? Up to this slide, you can ask the questions if you have any doubt. You can ask also case studies in the day-to-day. Okay, moving to the next one. The next one is distribution cost component. So as you know, in case of distribution, whether in the form of acquisition distribution system or whether in the form of physical distribution system, in the form of logistics, basically what will happen, some hidden costs are added in case of physical distribution or in case of acquisition distribution systems. But the thing is that if you consider in case of distribution cost component as far as concerned with the distribution network channels, for any company which is involved in distribution cost is a major bottleneck. So as you know, in case of distribution management, every process or every product should be passed through the bottleneck, where they can be find the difficulties, whether they find any kind of failure, whether they find any kind of error through that bottleneck. There may be different distribution expenses which must be taken care of. For example, if you are a owner of a transportation company, so what are the distribution costs? For example, the cost of your fuel, cost of maintenance of that vehicle, cost of wages in the form of salary of driver and co-pilot also. So this should be taken care of whenever you play physical distribution component or in case of acquisition distribution component. The next part is if you go to the further, there are these expenses are not consistent and may change from time to time, thereby changing the distribution cost as well as distribution cost, which is known as a distribution expenses cost. And they are usually defined as incurred to the delivery of the product from the production unit to the end users. So whenever you assign your logistic activities, you must concern this cost starting from the fuel cost, the maintenance cost of vehicle, the wages, the toll plaza charges. These costs should be known as distribution expenses, and these should be deliver the product from the production unit to the end user. So whenever you produce the particular product, it directly goes to, as you know, that is directly goes to the outbound logistics, and outbound logistics the different number of warehouse. For example, in case of, if you take the example of any kind of steel industry, any kind of metal industries, the product is directly stored in case of through the outbound logistics, and from outbound logistics to it's directly reach up to the warehouse, or that should be considered as a distribution hub. From that distribution hub to through the logistic activity, it should be reach up to the number of potential customers. So whenever the product should be reached, in case of outbound logistics, the distribution expenses should be added. For example, for loading unloading activities, you have to assign a particular loading unloading vehicles, or you can assign a automated guide vehicles for loading and unloading activities. So that cost should be considered, or that expenses should be considered in case of distribution expenses. Moving to the next one, next slide. So if you go to the different cost component, the first one is distribution expenses and distribution cost. So what are the distribution expenses? If you go to the individual expenses made by the company for various regions, it is known as distribution expenses. And the next is there are individual and repeated transactions happening over time. An example may be include in case of rent, salary, and administrative expenses, etc. These are the individual transaction or repeat transaction, and these transactions can be called distribution expenses. For example, for logistic activities, you must rent a warehouse. For rent that particular warehouse, you have to assign some worker for loading or unloading activities. Their salary should be counted. In case of administrative expenses, for making particular billing or invoice and different kind of challan and taxes, that should be included in case of administrative expenses. So these are considered in case of distribution expenses. Suppose a particular truck is moving from Bhubaneswar to other places of Odisha. In that case, you have to make a particular distribution expenses like administrative expenses, the salary, the fuel, the rent of vehicles, the maintenance charges, the toll plaza charge, that should be included in case of distribution expenses. The next part is distribution cost. The combination of all the distribution expenses made by a company is known as distribution cost. I repeat, the combination of all distribution expenses made by a company is known as distribution cost. So continuing the examples, the total rent, salary, administrative expenses will be considered the distribution costs. So if you calculate the distribution cost, the formula is given, the sum of distribution expenses equals to distribution cost. So if you combine the rent of warehouse, then the next is salary, the administrative expenses, the toll plaza charges, the fuel, and the other expenses which you combine, or the sum of all distribution expenses equals to known as your distribution cost. So this is the formula. If you have any doubt regarding distribution expense, you can ask the questions. Anyone? Anyone? If you have doubt regarding distribution cost component, you can ask.
Cost out.
Yes. The combination of all distribution expenses. So what are the distribution expenses? As I told, the rent of warehouse, the salary of your driver of that particular vehicle, the co-pilot salary, and administrative expenses like billing, invoice, toll plaza charges, documentation. These are the sum of these distribution expenses is known as your distribution cost. I repeat, the combination of distribution expenses is known as distribution cost. I think you got your answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving to the next one. Next slide. So how this distribution cost component terminology, which is broadly expressed in several costs. The sum of the costs are discussed below. The first one is direct selling expenses. The next is advertise and sales promotion expenses, product and packaging expenses, trade discount expenses, credit and outstanding and overdue expenses, marketing research expenses. The next one is warehousing and handling with warehousing and handling with warehouse expenses, commercial and accountancy expenses, customer service expenses, and the last one is sales return expenses. We will discuss one by one. If you go to the first one, direct selling expenses, going to the first one. Next slide. So in case of direct selling expenses, as you know, in case of expenses made towards selling the particular product to the target customers, this is known as direct selling. So this direct selling expenses is directly concerned, or you can say that it is also concerned towards selling the particular product to the target customers. And many manufacturer, wholesaler, and distributor carry out direct selling in the region that want to expand. They also would like to know the distribution cost of that particular regions. So, for example, if you go to selling the particular product like agri product in the place like if you take the example of Odisha, in that case, uh, the manufacturer or the producer directly sell their agri product to the government through different societies or different you can say different agencies are there. Through that agency they can directly sell their crop to the government, and government provide more amount of incentive and discount, and even if they provide some amount of subsidy to the farmer or producer levels. So they consider the direct selling expenses as a primary expenses made by the farm. So what are the expenses? The salary of field sales peoples, for example. The next is travel of sales peoples. Then entertainment of sub-dealer, training cost, postage and office supplier need for the sales. So whenever you take the example of FMCG product, in case of direct selling, the salary of that salesperson should be considered, the travels or travel allowances of that particular salesperson should be considered, the entertainment for the sub-dealers, that should be considered, the training cost of that particular sales people should be considered, then postage and official supply should be needed in case of sales, that should be considered in the direct selling expenses. If you have any doubt, you can ask questions from that particular point. Anyone?
Sir, entertainment for sub-dealer mane kona?
For example, you are providing some diaries, pen, and some gift to the sub-dealer to promote the particular sales through direct sellings. So that should be considered. Suppose you are assigned as a salesman to the particular geographical locations or new place or new state. In that case, you directly provide some entertainment things in the form of providing gift, some discount voucher, or some amount of discount in case of those directly deal with your particular product in the form of sub dealers. The next part is training cost should be considered. The posted and supplier should be needed for sale. These are considered in case of direct sellings. Moving to the next slide. The advertising and sales promotion expenses. If a company wants to establish itself in a new regions, it need to have advertise, it need to run in store branding, it need to run ad in local newspaper and local channels. In that case, the company will be spending a lot of towards advertising and promotion, which are various form of distribution expense. So I will give the best example in case of Tata cargo trucks, where they directly promote Tata Steels. If you see the long trailer trucks, they made a particular canopy on that particular truck, and that canopy contain various advertisements regarding Tata Steels. To reduce the cost, like company like yours Swiggy and Zomato, especially in case of Zomato, they always go for advertising in case of local hoardings, local newspaper, even through social media. So this advertising and sales promotion expenses should be considered in case of distribution expenses. Moving to the next slide. Next slide. The next one is product and packaging expenses. The product packaging was good but not strong. So as a result, the packaging suffered a huge wear and tear by the time it reached to the customer and the customer returned the particular product. So as you know, packaging providing the primary safety to a particular product. That is why the company like Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, they provide the first layer of packaging in the form of Tetra Paks. Have you seen Tetra Paks that is already surrounded with polythenes that provide the basic or primary safety to the particular product in the form of your PET bottles. The next part is due to that thing, if you found any kind of wear and tear in case of packaging, it directly goes to the wastage of particular product, and that should be also count. So this caused huge loss to the company, and they ultimately came up with plan to have different and study form of packaging online sales. That is why more and more companies are directly or diversify their sales strategy to reduce the packaging of particular product or expenses. They would directly choose the e-commerce site. They made a particular platform. So if you take this such packaging, obviously the cost of company and should be added one distribution expenses. So if you take the example of DS Group, we have already discussed the particular company. This company is responsible for packaging fruity and matcha. In case of beverage, in case of fruit juice, they provide the packagings of this particular group under the DS flagship. And due to that third-party agency hired by the companies, the packaging cost or the product packaging expenses should be reduced up to certain levels, and they provide higher amount of customer delight and customer satisfaction due to that packaging. If you take the example of paperboard, so that paperboard, the packaging is very much attractive. So due to attractive, they can manage their distribution expenses up to certain levels. Next, moving to the next slide. The next is trade discount. As far as concerned with the trade discount, the besides sale promotion exercise like advertising, marketing, a company launches several trade promotion exercise. So what are the trade promotion exercise, which include giving discount to the retailer, distributor, supplier on achieving certain target. So if you take the example of Ruchi Spices, in case of Odisha, it is the only one spices company who provide a huge amount of discount to the retailer and distributor as well as supplier levels. So due to that thing, whenever the particular product, they directly provide a huge amount of discount in the form of traveling different foreign country, and all the expenses bear by the Ruchi itself. So due to that discount strategy, they directly focus on targeted customers, even if targeted sales and promotion activities. This trade discount, if you take the example of plumbing industry like Supreme Pipe Private Limited, so being a bigger competitor as far as concerned with the Astral Pipe Limited, the Supreme has provided a huge amount of discount, even if you purchase for household, if you purchase for agriculture, even if you purchase for any multi-story building, uh, plumbing and sanitary items. So just imagine the company will provide around 35% discount. If you ask your seniors, if you ask those who are done their SIP in case of plumbing sector or plumbing industry or plumbing companies, the Supreme Pipe provide a huge amount of discount as far as concerned with other companies. And their discount is not limited to customer, that also include in case of retailer, distributor and suppliers. So this is known as trade discount. Moving to the next one. If you have any doubt, you can ask up to this slide. Anyone? Till date, anyone in doubt? Anyone? Okay, fine. The next one is the credit and outstanding and overdues. A distribution a distributor who operate the regional market needs the huge amount of money to conduct business. To arrange this money, the distribution take loan from the bank. This is known as overdue account. So as you know, in case of running a particular business, you have to need a huge amount of capital. And that capital directly through the loan from a bank is known as the overdue account. So as far as if you take the example in case of hypothetically, if the distributor take 1 lakh from the bank with 30 days, he should give 1 lakh plus 1% of interest. And thus the dealer suffer a loss when his money does not come back from the market in time. That is known as overdue of that particular account in the form of 1% interest. The result overdue account in case of market outstanding and credit are given in the market to contribute the distribution cost. So that is why the overdue account and market outstanding and credits are given to the market, which contribute in the form of distribution cost. The next, going to the next slide. Next slide. The next slide is market research. As you know, a reputed company like Samsung, LG, and Sony wants to establish themselves in a new market, and they buy market research report from like IMRB and Nielsen. These are the company who provide various type of data from a different country, from different location, from different customers levels, and that is why due to that data analysis, the company are very much famous on planning and improving their marketing research through product mix, through new product, or through introduce of new product in the market. So due to this report may cost $100,000 even if you nowadays in the social media like Flipkart also goes for providing data analytics tools. So they also provide some that kind of market research report to various type of company and various type of agencies. So not only new market, even the old market and company might wants to conduct satisfaction survey or a survey of new idea regarding distributions. So due to that collection of market research report, more company are implementing new type of strategy to reduce the distribution expenses through the implementation of market research report analysis. Moving to the next one. Next slide. The next is warehousing and handling with warehousing. As you know, we have already discussed Asia's largest warehouse of Indian group. As you know, the India group is very much famous for transportation and logistics due to diversification and uncertainty of demand in the market. They are directly focused on warehousing. That is why they made their warehouse in such a way that more number of multinational company are rent their warehouse, and through that rented warehouse, they can smoothly connected to the physical distribution network in the various states like Uttarakhand, Jammu and Kashmir, even Himachal Pradesh, even your Punjab, even Delhi areas. The most important thing, if you go to the Domino's and McDonald's, practically they have warehouse every three and four towns so that they can supply a local retail outlet and very fast. If you take the scenario of McDonald's, even if Domino's, they have their own warehouse in different locations in a particular state. Because the Domino and McDonald's handle frozen goods like burger or fries, their expenses are very much higher, and they need cold rooms and cold chains to deliver the particular product. So what do you mean by cold rooms and cold chains? So for example, for frozen goods like burger and fries, after 4 to 5 hours, that directly go to the waste if you not maintain a proper temperature inside that particular warehouse. The thing is that they made their warehouse in such a way that it is easily available the particular product, and that is why they are fastly deliver the product to the number of potential customers. It is happened due to the due to the warehousing and handle with warehouse techniques, and you can say that is the warehouse strategy they have made in such a way that they can be deliver or they can maintain local retailer very fast to provide the burger and fries to the different location as well as different potential customers. Moving to the next one. The next one is commercially and accountancy. It is a government requirement to present all sales and purchase as well as balance and profit sheet the government to determine the profit earned by your firm. The distribution expenses toward commercial accountancy include processing of order, maintaining accounts, receivables, sale invoice, payment proof, clerical job, invoice, accountancy software, printing, stationery expenses, and utilities. These are known as commercial and accountancy expenses. All these expenses together form the distribution cost of commercial and accountancy. So suppose you are running a logistic operation or logistic company, the processing of that particular order, maintaining account receivable, sales invoice, payment proof, clerical job, their salary, then invoice, then accountancy software, then printing, then stationery expenses, utility expenses. These are known as commercially and accountancy competency. The next one is last one. Next one. And the last one is sales return. If a dealer or retailer reject a material, then the material comes back to the manufacturer and provided it in the return policy of the companies. So as you know, as far as concerned with the Flipkart as well as Flipkart versus Amazon's, the return policy in case of Flipkart is very much simple as compared to Amazon's. And this return material may have come due to the cosmetic condition like damage or detain, or it may be come back due to the performance issue. In many conditions, the return product is cost to the companies. So in some companies, the return is directly goes to the distribution cost expenses. So in case of distribution expenses of sale return include freight of bringing damaged product back, repairing of product, loss due to discount sale, loss due to recycle of product, bad inventory in the stock, clerical or other administrative expenses toward handling sales returns. So these are the different type of distribution cost of sales return included in case of sales returns. That's all for today. If you have any doubt, you can ask frequently. Anyone? Yes, Sasang Rautre. Any doubt? Any doubt from your side? Snassis Manti.
No, sir, no doubts.
Okay. Then hello, sir. Sagar, so if you have any doubt, you can ask. Voice is breaking. Okay. You can drop your question on chat box. Drop your question box. Ask your questions. Drop your question on chat box. Is expert in case these are the sales, warehouse, and your done strategy motion trunk or overview to combine explain the distribution questions. Another question.
अधिक प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ कर दें।
पढ़े लेना सर।
सर अटेंडेंस नहीं थे बोले लेफ्टे जा संदीप टाइम है गेला
और क्लास होबोनी
मैं पे अब बोले